everyone.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Sydney. I work at Dialpad as the Senior Customer Marketing Manager. Would you guys like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Cameron Jenkins. I work for Austin FC as a Senior Corporate Partnerships Coordinator.
My name is Curlin. Curlin Anderson. I work for Austin FC as well. I'm on our Premium Services team as a Premium Service Executive.
And I'm Tyler. I'm on our services team here with Austin FC in a membership services role.
Awesome. For those that don't know, Austin FC is a professional soccer club. Does anyone want to maybe talk through a little bit more of kind of what that means or what your day-to-day is working for Austin FC, kind of behind the scenes, not the coach or the ref or, kind of really making the magic happen outside of just the field?
For myself and Curlin, I'm sure you could elaborate on this too. We work directly with the season ticket holders and a lot of the fans to kind of create a more well-rounded experience for them. Obviously, they spend their money to have season tickets with us, but it's really about growing that connection between club and the fan.
Yeah, I think a big part of our role as well, just to we deal with clients and work with them, 365 days a year. So like having season tickets, it's more than just, those 17 home games that you get the tickets to. It's really like a year experience. So it's really making sure the clients are aware of, different benefits we have, events going on. We do things like watch parties. We have, fun events where the kids can get involved, meet the players. So big piece of our job is like getting to know our clients, getting to know, who they are, why they come to games, why they got tickets, who they come to games with, or matches with, and just really helping them kind of get the full use of their membership and enjoy the experiences, both, when they're at the stadium watching a match and then when they're not. So getting involved with them. And then, also a lot of problem solving. We do that. So we're here to help the client, whether, it's their kid's birthday and they want to do something special. If they've noticed that their seat is ripped and they want to get it fixed, we are kind of there to kind of help solve problems. And day to day, it's just interacting with our clients, whether it's through texting, phone calling, in-person meetings. I do a lot of those working with businesses. So just getting to know them and kind of walking through that with them every day, and a lot of outbound and kind of person-to-person connection.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think so. My role is a bit different than Tyler and Curlin's. I work directly with our 70 or so partners that support the club and support the city of Austin. So it's really cool and unique to get to see kind of the behind the scenes of how much people invest just in our club and in our city, and their kind of passion and buy-in to what we represent for the city of Austin is inspiring. It makes us in the front office kind of want to work harder and work for our fans and all these people that want to support this team. And like Tyler said, they invest money to come to these games and invest time to, watch through 90 minutes of a match. And so it really is kind of a full circle moment to get to see how much passion and love all these fans have, for our club. So.
Do you want to say anything?
No,
okay.
Go ahead.
A lot of things come to mind. One being like the excitement that you guys see from the fans and just the community. I mean, I've lived in Austin 5.5 years, and I remember what it was like to have a sports team outside of the Longhorns and, all of that in itself. But how does it feel like working for Austin FC and it being kind of the heart of the sports community, if you will, in Austin? Like, it's so exciting just to be here and to get to see the space. But when it's full and like these are your customers and your day-to-day contacts, like what's that feeling like?
Yeah, it's interesting. I can chime in here. So previously to working with Austin FC, I worked for a really small market NBA team, probably the smallest market NBA team. And coming from like a small city with a big team, coming to a big city with also a big team, but it feels small. And I think like that's what I love. And it's really exciting of like, we are the only team in town, and being able, pro team, UT, I know still there. Yeah. But like being the only team in town and like, it feels small in a big city, which I like really enjoy. Like you come into the stadium and it's people from all different walks of life, people who, you know, have grown up playing soccer or diehard soccer fans, or, you know, grew up on Premier League, all the way to people, you know, my first experience at an Austin FC game, I knew absolutely nothing. I was sitting in the stands like, okay, I don't know what's happening, but I'm loving it and I want to like come and be involved in more. And so I think like this Austin FC is such a great gathering spot for, you know, people, and it makes a big city feel small, especially when we get our season ticket holders connected, get them involved with our partners. And it is really like a community and a big community, but it feels small, which is something I really love about working for the team and being involved with our fans as well.
Yeah, I can kind of touch on that too. Me, Tyler, and Curlin, none of us are UT grads. And so, you know, coming to Austin prior to Austin FC, UT was kind of the only team you could really support and back. And so I think the integration of Austin FC into the city just adds a whole new element to fans that, you know, may not want to support the University of Texas. And so it is a really cool kind of, like Curlin said, a close-knit community of fans that are supporting, you know, this club that represents the city of Austin. And that was kind of like the goal and mission statement of Austin FC coming into the city, was we want to be a catalyst for those fans that want something to root for and want something, you know, bigger than themselves to represent. And I think Austin FC kind of embodies what the city of Austin has to offer. And again, I think it's really cool to see all the walks of life and all the people that, you know, travel from all over to come to move to Austin and to find their footing. And so it's fun for Austin FC to be that kind of representation of, you know, having everybody come together and supporting one common, you know, entity. And it is really a cool experience.
It's been neat too to like hear, so I've been with the team for about 1.5 years now, but hear stories from my members who have been, you know, here since day one, but they weren't like fans at all of soccer. They kind of, to Cam's point of like, we're just gearing up, wanting something to root for, and being able to kind of buy into that Austin FC. And then like to hear their stories of, you know, how they knew nothing day one, and now they're like these big fans, and their kids are growing up as Austin FC fans, and like that is their team. It's been cool, you know, during my time to hear those experiences, but like watch it continue to grow of like, this is like their team, and it's going to be their kids' team because their kid, have been bringing their kid out since like day one. So I think that's something really special as well.
Yeah, and on that point too, like I grew up here in Austin. I have my whole life. I mean, as a kid, you're kind of sitting here wondering, you know, are we ever going to get a professional sports team? You know, if you want to be a fan of like all these different leagues, you're like, okay, well, you got to find a team outside of the area, or, you know, if you have family connections outside of it, obviously that's one thing. But, you know, finally having something that is the identity of the city is something that, you know, we're kind of looking for a long time. And, you know, did I think it was going to be soccer? No, but I can't say that this has not been like the most successful thing I've ever seen come into town. I mean, from when it was announced, you know, 6-7 years ago that we were going to get a team, and then everywhere you go now around the city, you just see people wearing Austin FC, whether it's like the logo on a hat, their jersey. I mean, any day, anywhere you go, I mean, you can't go 2 blocks without seeing someone wearing our colors.
I feel like a lot of Austin fans, or Austin people in general, claim the Spurs as like Austin's team, and San Antonio is like an hour and a half away. So that's as close as we've had, you know, as our home team. So it's nice having like an actual home team to root for.
Yeah, I am born and raised in San Jose, so should be an Earthquakes fan. But since being here, right, like I love the NFL, I love the NBA, I love baseball. I never would have considered myself to be a fan of Austin FC, or just, I mean, you know, watch as many games or want to attend as many games as I have since living here. So I think it's a total testament to like the culture of Austin and how, we're all just so excited to have something to kind of participate in all together. So on the flip side, I know obviously you guys work so much with your members, and we were talking about you're working through some renewals with your season ticket holders. Where does Dialpad kind of come into that? Is it, I mean, obviously we're your communications provider, but maybe just like touch on those types of interactions and kind of your use case with Dialpad?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, for Curlin and I think Dialpad's really kind of the crux of everything that we do here. I mean, it's kind of our one stop for everything. You know, that's how we interact with all of our members, whether it's like phone call or texting, but, you know, it's something that I'm on pretty much all hours of my workday, sometimes outside the working hours as well. But no, I think it's a great tool just to be able to connect with everyone. And to be honest, it's just much easier than dealing with like my own personal phone line as well. So having like someone's contact saved immediately is something that, you know, I kind of look at as, you know, okay, I don't have to question whose phone number this is. If I need to get in contact with a certain person, like within a very short amount of time, I know exactly where to go. You know, I mean, I think I'm probably on Dialpad the most in our office, to be honest. So, I mean, I really enjoy it. It makes my life a hell of a lot easier.
This is true. Yeah, I really enjoy Dialpad, like for my two biggest reasons. One would be like the centralness of it, of like having Dialpad on my personal phone, but it also like I'm not using my personal number, which obviously is key, but also too, just like everything is there. Like I call someone and if I've never spoken to them before, but they have an account like in our back system, it immediately syncs. So it's very like one-stop shop. It's very central. I can, you know, listen to voicemails. I can read voicemails. I can make sure I'm on the main line with just you know, click of a button, and being able to experience that here, I think it's made the centralness of my job a lot easier, and I'm very accessible when I need to be accessible, which is pretty much all the time, but and I'm happy to do it. But also just the tools within Dialpad, like when I first came to Austin FC, I was like, because I used to have two phones. I would sing that song. I got two phones. Anyway, okay. But I used to have two phones. And so like, I would just leave my work cell phone at work. Like when I didn't, you know, when I was really trying to kind of cut it off. Yeah. So when I first came, I was like, oh, I'm a little nervous to like have my work phone on my phone. Am I going to be looking at texts? Am I going to be working out of hours, you know, when I'm trying to be able to separate a bit better. And it's great because like there's so many tools within Dialpad. There's like that reminder tool of you get a text and it's like, remind me about this text in 2 days or in 1 day. Or, you know, being able to turn off notifications when needed, or turn them on when needed. They're usually always on. But so that, I think the connectivity and, you know, centralness of Dialpad is great. And then also too, like the back system on the computer, it is great to be able to like see how many calls we've made, see our call duration, see peak times of like, you know, the times where we get people to answer the most during the day, and kind of being able to see that graph of that tracks the data, and the analytics I think has also been really helpful to just kind of help us organize our day, learn, you know, call habits and call, you know, analytics that can help us be better at our job, and maximize the time that we have. I know that was like a long-winded answer, but yeah.
I feel like Dialpad allows us to be more intentional with our conversations and relationships. I feel like sometimes when you're reaching out to people on like your personal phone, you want to kind of keep it as surface level as possible, because you're like, this is still a business. I don't want them reaching out to me all the time on my personal phone. And so I feel like, you know, the integration of Dialpad allows us to be more integrated and entwined with our fan base and our community. And that's kind of something that we have, you know, prided ourselves on since day one, is we want to be intentional with our community and let them know that we're here for them and we want to support them and we want to be approachable. And that's kind of like the point of Austin FC and our, you know, representation in the community, is we don't want to be some giant entity that is above all the community and we make our own decisions. Like our fan base and our community is driven off the backs of our supporters and everybody that comes to our matches. And we've kind of told people that from day one. I think, you know, using Dialpad to be able to associate our fans with, you know, our day-to-day lives, I think it makes a huge difference just with our approach to, you know, coming to work and being able to communicate with everybody that we need to. So
You said that much more eloquently than I did.
I had more time to think about it here. So
Jeez,
nice.
That making me a little emotional. Did you have anything to add?
No.
You're good. I know.
I don't think I could do anything better than what Cam could do.
Yeah, I think like a theme that I've heard in these conversations, and one that we had before, is the sense of community and connection. And I mean, I love that. That's why I'm in my profession, is getting to connect with customers, and not just customers, but, you know, partners, and building those relationships. And I think Dialpad, like, right, that's our product, is trying to make conversations better and kind of enhancing them and having more positive takeaways and more intentional combos. as far as features go, is there anything that maybe like stands out? I know we talked about the Salesforce integration. Anything that maybe we haven't touched on that has made your day-to-day so much easier, so much better, or ways that you can connect with your customers are, kind of in a different stream now that you have Dialpad?
Yeah, I mean, I think, kind of the hot tech spec that's kind of going on over the last few months has been AI, and Dialpad's AI feature. We use it for like our mainline calls. That definitely helps kind of summarize up a conversation. Normally, like if we're getting like a mainline call, it's from someone who's most likely not our designated season ticket holder, and they'll have questions and everything. So it helps kind of give you an itemized list of everything you need to follow up on, give you some highlights and like some good feedback on what you did do, what maybe you didn't do, what you could do to improve. And I think that's some stuff that, in some ways it could be a little more transactional on that line, but it helps you think a little bit more outside the box on what you could do to be better in those situations when you aren't as familiar with the client.
Yeah. I also, the Salesforce integration is big, just being able to have like that continuity from, system to system, whether it's from Dialpad to Salesforce or Salesforce to Unify or whatever, like that continuity is really helpful in terms of organization. I also think some features that I really enjoy, I love the voicemail drop feature. When I first learned about that, when I first came, I was like, this is awesome. So being able to just like the efficiency of a voicemail drop of like, if we're trying to, crank out however many calls and, I used to have to like leave a personalized voicemail for every single person, which it is still personalized in the sense of like, depending on the kind of call campaign we're doing. But it is really great for like efficiency's sake of, being able to just, get through all the calls. And that way, like we're spending time on the call and on the phone with the client and being able to maximize our time for, the members that we can get in touch with on the phone, and not having to, spend more time and energy just like leaving a voicemail. So I love that one. I also really enjoy, I mentioned it a second ago, the newer feature maybe that we discovered, of being able to like read a text, but, mark it as
it's new.
It is new. Yeah. Almost like unread of, remind me in an hour, remind me in a day, remind me in 2 days. That is really helpful. We work Saturdays and match days, and sometimes on a match day it gets busy of trying to put out little fires or maximize our time of meeting as many clients as possible in person. So maybe we get a text that buzzes through of Austin FC is just on someone's mind when they're at the match, and it may be a question that I could answer on a Monday. It's not time sensitive in the sense of like need to be answered right now on a match day. So it's great to be able to use that feature. So like Monday morning when I come in, it pops up, and that way I like haven't missed anything in the craziness of what a match day may be. So those are two features that I do really like.
I think I like the functionality and the organization of the touch points. I think I really enjoy being organized and knowing what I need to do and when I need to do it and how many times I've reached out to people. And so I think, being able to keep track of how many times I've, communicated with a certain client or somebody, I think that is key for me to be able to know the next time I need to communicate with them and just kind of understand, that cadence of communication. And I think just staying on track of keeping everybody happy and making sure everybody's, being recognized, throughout my week is important.
I think like a great thing, just kind of overarching, is that like it's all in one place, right? Whether I'm on my phone or my laptop, like I can click a client's name and see every communication I've had with them. Whereas if you're working with just like a work cell phone like I had in the past, like I have to flip between messages and phone and voicemail. And so just being able to have everything centralized is great because it, just helps us communicate to the client better and helps us be more organized. And also the fact that like I don't have to have my phone to be able to make phone calls or send texts or do follow-ups. I can do it all on my computer as well. Sometimes it's nice just like functionality, like in the workspace, if we, are sitting on the couches or if we're at our desk or if we're somewhere else in the office, like we can always have our phone or our computer and be doing the same thing. So I find that helpful too.
Cool. I love working from the couches.
Yes.
Sometimes in the office.
Sometimes you need to.
Yeah, you don't really know where you're going to end up or who you're going to chat with. So I totally feel that. So obviously you guys probably talk to your partners and our clients more than most people. Like, what's the best way to communicate with them, you found? And is it through Dialpad? Is it email? Like, is it texting? Is it calling? Like voicemail drop, like you mentioned? And especially on game days, like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone has their own preference on how they like to be communicated with. Really, I think most people probably prefer a text because it's just easy. It's right there in hand. So I use the texting features a lot more for like setting up meetings and setting up like follow-ups in person. Aside from that, like, I mean, the phone calls, like, obviously I'm on the phone quite a bit, but
he is phone merchant.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I like to talk a bit, but it's a good thing in this line of work. So
what are the conversations like? I need
Tyler
to know.
will really talk about
You're speaking so much.
Sometimes Tyler's on the phone and we're like, what are they talking about?
I get that.
And how long have they been on the phone?
You know, sometimes I just, when people ask me what I do for work, I said my job's to kind of make friends with our members. So really it's a lot of like, yeah. I had no idea what you were doing first.
I know you didn't.
It was like, sorry, deer in the headlights here. Right. But no, really just like getting to know them. And then, I don't know, I like asking people a little bit more about like the background and learning like more about their interests, because, you know, there's probably something that they like that I know nothing about, and, you know, kind of get them talking a little bit, then people can open up a bit, makes things a little bit easier to connect that way. So that's how I can end up on the phone for 30 minutes to an hour at a time, sometimes maybe 2 hours at a time.
I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
In a good way, yeah.
I don't know. I don't even talk to my mom that much, but
got that one out.
I think
she's okay with it.
Yeah.
I think for me, I work with a lot of companies as well. So I have your general consumer, but I also deal with businesses. And so coming into this role, coming from more of a B2C, now I feel like I'm more B2B. It's been interesting to kind of learn my book of business and learn how they each communicate differently and effectively. So, you know, some higher level clients, like C-level executives, you know, you would think like they prefer a phone call or an email, but a lot of them, it's just like, just shoot them a text, get right to the point, or, you know, hop on a call really quick. And so I think over the past, honestly, year, I've been learning, you know, each person in my book of business and see how they communicate effectively. And also I think follow-up is super important, no matter who you're dealing with. So, you know, you can send one text, but, you know, 2 days later, you want to make sure that you follow up with a phone call or an email, just to, it takes multiple touch points. But I think having Dialpad and being able to use like the different features and the different reminders has been able to help that. And in terms of, yeah, for me, I feel like most effective is texting and then in person as well. Whether it's, you know, I text people morning of a game being like, hey, I'm just sitting on my couch watching TV, and I'll just go through a list of clients and text and be like, hey, will you be at the match tonight? Want to come say hi? Or, hey, we chatted earlier this week. You mentioned you may be at the game. I'll come stop by. And so then I usually just go find them. And, you know, a lot of people really appreciate, you know, they appreciate you just like taking that initiative to come and find them, or to call them, or to text them or email them. So kind of using all the different communication modes to, you know, one, accommodate like how your customer prefers to be communicated with, but also just taking that proactive step to just, if they don't answer, you go and figure it out in person. So that's, I think, one of my favorite parts of the job is like hunting down people I've never met before and just like going that extra step to get that face-to-face interaction, whether it's at an office, at a match.
Yeah, I do a lot more B2B relationships, which is great. I prefer email, which I think is kind of old school, but also allows me to like visualize everything and see everything in one place, which I really, really like. But yeah, like Curlin said, it's nice being able to kind of see people in person. And, you know, even saying hi is like something that feels so intimate to these people that, you know, only know you through a screen or know you through a phone call. And so, again, a lot of our fan base is in Austin and calls Austin home. And so I think these intentional relationships that we create makes them feel a lot more seen and heard, especially at match days. Again, like every little thing that we can do to make their match day easier or their week easier is like our top priority. And that's something that we, spend 40 hours a week on is making our fan base happy, our community happy. And yeah, like I think phone calls, I think texts, I think you kind of learn a lot about who you're communicating with over time, and just how they best communicate in return. And so, using Dialpad to have these texts and phone calls makes those quick communication points so much easier. Think about it. If you have two phones trying to communicate throughout the week, and then you get on a match day carrying two phones around trying to hunt someone down, like it makes it so really difficult. And I think the ease of having Dialpad app, just be able to hop on it and send someone a text, going to find them in their seats, like it makes the match days so much easier for us and for our fans. So
perfect. I know we're almost at time. I've been trying to think of what is a good last question without it, being super open-ended. So each of you, if you could describe working for Austin FC in one word, what would you say? Overall, doesn't have to be Dialpad related. It can, but let's not complicate it.
Do you want our word and then our explanation, or just the word?
Let's do word and then explanation. Yeah.
I would say, like, for me, probably innovation, just because like coming in here, like we are, this is only our 5th season. So in the realm of professional sports, like we are a young team, and upper management, I feel like they give us a lot of autonomy to like try new things and see like what works for us and our learning and professional styles, but also like what works for our clients. So I feel like I've had a lot of opportunity within this role just in a year and a half to like be innovative and be curious and, ask questions, like ask our president a question, ask VPs a question. There's really just a really open line of communication, and we've been able to try things. I've been able to try things in my first season and like do it, and then like show them how it works, and like them kind of giving us that autonomy and that like room to be creative and try new things, I think not only helps us grow professionally, but it helps the client, and it like also shows the client that we are trying new things or we are listening. I always tell clients like your feedback, it truly doesn't fall on deaf ears, and I feel confident saying that because like we are able to try out new things and see what works for the benefit of the club and the consumer. So
yeah, I think the word I'm thinking of is rooted. It's kind of a play on words with our oak tree crest, which is fun. But I think, Austin FC is such a integral part of the city of Austin. I feel like we're so connected with all aspects of life within the city. And I think our roots are spread very wide, in this Austin network that we have. And I think, since day one we've been here, I think we've done what we can to play a key role in what the community of Austin has to offer us. And there's so many different elements of Austin that, everybody can be a part of. I mean, there's a music scene, there's a food scene, there's, a park scene that Austin, prides itself on is, Austin Parks and the beauty of the West Austin trees and everything. And so I think Austin FC kind of embodies and embraces all these different walks of life that Austin has to offer. And I just think it's a really unique space to be a part of. And again, I love that our logo has the 4 roots at the bottom that represent 4 different parts of Austin: north, south, east, west. And it's just kind of a sign that shows that we're welcoming everybody in to our community with open arms, and we want everybody to be a part of our Austin family.
I'm going to kind of cheat here and use 2 words, but one term. I'd say Southern hospitality. Austin's, a very traditional city, unconventional, but very traditional. I think that, like how Cam and Curlin said, that like we're very welcoming to people. We're trying to do everything we can to create a sense of community for everyone here in the city. I think that we kind of welcome everyone in with open arms. I think, from the different events we have here, like I'll point back to, we had a, Guatemala versus Panama game about a week and a half ago. And I mean, you're just seeing people from all different places that you don't expect to show up, show out, and, just have pride. And, we're kind of trying to give them the opportunities to come out and be a part of something. And I feel like people have really kind of gravitated towards that over the past 5 years. And I hope they continue to do so. As the city continues to grow and, still regarded as a melting pot, I think that you're going to see a lot more diversity coming through the doors year in and year out.
Perfect. And on that note, don't forget to keep Austin weird.
That was a good closing.